Have you ever been there? Standing in line, trying to say something simple, but the words just won't come out right? You feel the pressure, the frustration, like you're just not connecting.
We've all been there, Jenny. It's a horrible feeling, especially when you know you understand the grammar and the vocabulary, but real-life conversations are just different.
That's because everyday English is full of little shortcuts, phrases, and idioms that you won't find in your textbooks.
But don't worry. Today, Jenny and I are going to arm you with 10 essential phrases that will help you sound more natural, more confident, and more like a native English speaker.
By the way, hey everyone, and welcome back to English Podcast TV. I'm Jenny.
And I'm John. Today we're going into the world of everyday English. We're not just giving you a list of phrases, we're going to show you exactly how to use them, when to use them, and why native speakers use them.
Think of these phrases as your secret weapon for unlocking fluent conversations.
And to make it even more fun, we'll have a quick quiz at the end to test your knowledge. So stick around to see if you've mastered these phrases.
We're aiming for over-delivery today. By the end of this video, you'll not only know these phrases, but you'll feel comfortable using them. Ready to get started?
Let's do it. Okay, Jenny, I'm thinking about a scenario.
Uh-oh. This already sounds like trouble.
Imagine a friend asks you for details about a new movie you just saw, with all the plot twists and juicy secrets, so they can understand it without seeing it. But you only watched half of it.
Oh no. So they're expecting a full summary, but I'm like, wait, the movie wasn't even finished? Definitely not ideal.
Exactly. You want to answer, but you also don't want to mislead them. So what phrase can we use to soften the response and still stay helpful?
Maybe something polite, something that shows I'm not 100% sure.
The phrase is, I'm not quite sure, but...
I'm not quite sure, but... So I'd say, I'm not quite sure, but I think the hero was secretly a villain.
See? It acknowledges their question, offers a little info, and shows honesty without shutting the conversation down.
It's kind, it's respectful, and honestly, people will appreciate that you're trying to help instead of pretending to know everything.
Right. Just saying, I don't know, might come off a little cold or dismissive. This one gives you wiggle room. Super useful at work too. Like when your boss asks for a number you don't have right now.
Totally. I'm not quite sure, but I can check and get back to you. Boom, you sound professional and helpful.
It is. Now let's move into our next phrase.
Okay, my turn. Imagine you and I are on a road trip, John, and we have no planned stops or hotels. We're just driving, seeing where the road takes us.
That sounds like a total blast. I love the spontaneity, but it also sounds a little unpredictable.
Exactly. We don't have a rigid plan, we're just winging it. No fixed schedule, no bookings, no pressure.
So in that kind of situation, you need a phrase that says, hey, let's just see what happens, without sounding careless.
Right. The phrase is, let's play it by ear.
Let's play it by ear. Such a classic. It's what you say when you want to make decisions in the moment based on how things go.
So let's say we're driving through the countryside and someone asks, where are you staying tonight? We'd say, we don't have a reservation. We'll just play it by ear.
It's the kind of phrase that shows you're flexible, open to options, and it's super common in daily conversations.
You know, I think people appreciate that attitude sometimes. It shows you're okay with the unknown and can adapt.
True, but it depends on the context too. Like, I wouldn't recommend saying that to your boss when they ask about your project deadline.
Oh, we'll just play it by ear, sir. Yeah, maybe not the best choice there.
Speaking of work, what about those moments when you're super busy, like totally locked into something and someone interrupts?
Oh, I know that feeling. You want to respond, but you're focused and don't want to sound rude.
Right. That brings us to our next essential phrase.
I'm in the middle of something.
So I might say, hey Jenny, I'm in the middle of something right now. Can I call you back in an hour?
Exactly. It's a polite and concise way to let someone know you're busy without sounding cold or dismissive.
I like that it doesn't get into too much detail. You're not explaining what you're doing, just setting a boundary in a respectful way.
And it works in both personal and professional settings. Like if you're writing an email or doing focused work and someone calls or messages you, just say, "I'm in the middle of something. I'll get back to you soon."
Yeah, it buys you time and keeps the conversation open for later. That little phrase is a lifesaver in a busy day.
Totally. It also shows that you respect your own time, which is so important.
Now, while we're on the topic of things that come up during busy days, let's talk about something that happens to all of us, no matter how organized we try to be.
Uh-oh. You mean when your brain decides to go on vacation?
Yep. You make a plan, promise to do something, and then poof. You forget.
And the worst part? You remember it at the last possible moment, or someone else reminds you.
Oof, that feeling. But thankfully, we have a phrase that's perfect for those forgetful moments.
It slipped my mind.
It slipped my mind.
So I would say, "Oh, John, I am so sorry. It completely slipped my mind to book our anniversary dinner, but I'll do it right away."
Classic. It's such a moment. That phrase softens the impact of forgetting while showing you're taking responsibility.
It's kind of like saying, "Hey, I'm not perfect, but I care."
Exactly. It's a gentle way of admitting you forgot something without making excuses. It acknowledges the mistake and hopefully minimizes any disappointment.
But let's be real. If everything slips your mind, you're gonna look unreliable real fast.
Yeah, if you're using it every other day, maybe what you need is a calendar app.
Or a co-host who reminds you of things, like me.
Aw, thanks, Jenny. But now let's flip the script. What about when you do remember something, but it doesn't fit into your schedule or it's not a good idea for you?
That moment when someone suggests something and you just know, that's not gonna fly.
Yup. So instead of being blunt or negative, we have a phrase that's polite but firm. That's not gonna work for me.
That's not gonna work for me. So I would say, "Thanks for thinking of me, but helping you move this weekend is not gonna work for me. I'm heading out of town to visit my family."
Exactly. It's polite, direct, and avoids giving a full list of excuses. You're being honest and respectful.
And it's especially helpful when you're trying to protect your time or say no without sounding harsh.
Totally agree. Saying that's not gonna work for me sets a boundary in a clear but gentle way.
And here's the trick. Your tone matters. If you say it kindly, people usually respect it.
Yup. And in a work environment, it can help prevent burnout. Saying no nicely is a power move.
Speaking of not feeling up for something, what about those days when your energy's low, your body feels off, and you just want to crawl back into bed?
Oh yeah, I know those days. You wake up and even your bones are like, nope, not today.
That's when we pull out this super useful phrase.
I'm feeling a bit under the weather.
I'm feeling a bit under the weather.
You might say to your colleague, hey, I'm feeling a bit under the weather today, so I might be a little slower than usual.
It's a polite and common way to say you're not feeling great without sharing all the sniffles, aches, or sore throat drama.
Yeah, no need to describe the tissues piling up at your desk.
Exactly. And it can cover everything from a light cold to just being low on energy.
It's also useful if you need to take a sick day without sounding dramatic.
Right? It's one of those phrases that keeps things professional but human.
Speaking of feeling off, what if you're asked to do something you're not great at, but you want to help or give it a try?
Ooh, I've been there. Like when someone asked me to troubleshoot their Wi-Fi. I'm no tech expert, but
I'll give it a shot.
I'll give it a shot! It shows initiative and a willingness to help, even in situations where you might feel out of your depth.
And honestly, people respect that attitude. It's better to give it a shot than just say, I can't.
Definitely. Whether it's trying a new recipe, speaking in English at a meeting, or helping a friend with their car, effort goes a long way.
And you know, when someone does give it a shot, you usually want to know how it goes, right?
Oh yeah, like if I tried fixing that car, you'd probably check in later.
I'd say something like, hey, keep me posted on how it goes. Keep me posted.
Keep me posted. And it shows trust too, right? Like you're relying on someone to keep you in the loop without micromanaging. Super useful in both work and personal conversations.
Definitely. It's also a phrase that keeps communication open without pressure. You're showing interest, but not demanding updates every 5 minutes.
Okay, John, now let's imagine you're in a group project at work. Someone's stressing about organizing the team meeting, and you want to reassure them and take the pressure off.
Then I'd say confidently, don't worry, I'll take care of it.
Boom, that phrase is gold. It's simple, responsible, and calming. Like, relax, I've got this.
Exactly. Like the catering for the event, I'll take care of it. You're showing that you're reliable and proactive.
And you know what? It's not just about responsibility. It also builds trust. When someone hears that, they know you're stepping up with confidence.
Totally. Now sometimes things don't go as planned, even when you try your best. What do you say when something unexpected happens, but you're trying to stay calm and positive?
Oh, I've got the perfect one. Want to guess?
Let me try. Is it? It is what it is.
Yes, that's the one. Okay, last one. Let's get this over with.
Let's get this over with.
You might say, all right, team, let's get this over with so we can all get home. Let's quickly review the key action items.
It means you want to finish something quickly, often because it's unpleasant or tedious.
It is important to note that this phrase has a negative connotation, so it should be used carefully.
Yeah, and honestly, we've all been there. Stuck in a long meeting or doing chores we don't enjoy, so sometimes this phrase just feels real.
Exactly. It brings a little humor or honesty into the moment, as long as you say it with the right tone.
Just remember to keep it light, especially if others might be sensitive about the task.
Yep, say it with a smile, and it can actually lighten the mood instead of offending anyone.
These phrases are your key to sounding more natural and confident in everyday English conversations.
But remember, knowing the phrases is only half the battle. The real magic happens when you start using them.
So, challenge yourself this week to incorporate these phrases into your conversations. You might be surprised at how much more fluent and natural you sound.
And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your fellow English learners.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to let us know in the comments which phrases you found most useful.
And next week, we will be talking about slang words in English. You won't want to miss it.
See you next time.